Come on in. I think someone else just walked into the room, walked into the office. Hold on a second. Hi, Johnny. That's okay. Have a seat. We're just getting ready to start.
Okay.
Good evening, everybody. This is Alderman Lee. It is 6:05 on Thursday, March 20th. We're having a follow-up meeting for property that we had a prior zoning meeting on. And this was the property located at 3440 South Parnell. Current zoning is M1-2 and the desired zoning is RT-4. This is a second meeting, which is a follow-up to the first one where several issues were raised, and we asked the owner to go back with their architect to address some of the concerns that the neighbors had, including what the building's going to look like, elimination of the rooftop deck. Those things have been addressed here. We have the party's attorney here with us, as well as the family who owns the property, as well as the architect here with us today. I'd like to allow Ms. Doherty to go through a quick presentation that we have on the proposed changes that I feel have addressed some of the concerns that people have raised, and then we'll take any questions that folks have from there. So let me share my screen. Okay. And everybody see that? Colleen, can you see that okay where you are?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay. You go right ahead and let's start here.
Great. Thank you so much, Alderwoman, and the community for having us here this evening. As mentioned, the intent here is to amend this from actually a manufacturing zoning to an RT-4 to accommodate a 2-unit property. This is for owner occupied living. So the owners would live there in each of the units. And this is obviously a rendering of what the building would look like. It would be certainly an improvement to the, we hope you think it'll be an improvement to a vacant lot. I think it's certainly a beautiful building. Something that was brought up and heavily concerned about in the last meeting was the height of the building. There had been discussions about putting in a rooftop deck. The owners have agreed to scrap the rooftop deck. So there will no longer be a rooftop deck. And it will be 38 feet tall. And I understand that number, even as is, did scare people. But to kind of give some context, I think there was a lack of context in our last meeting of what that actually looked like. So 38 feet tall is about 2 feet taller than the property immediately to the north of this property. So 34 North Parnell, the immediate neighbor is 36 feet tall. So it is not going to tower over that property. It will be slightly taller, but from the sidewalk, I think they will look pretty similar in height. We also went through and kind of looked at the heights on houses throughout the block. There are several, at least 3 other houses that are at least 36 feet tall or taller that we found on the block. That would be 3411, 3402, and 3423 Parnell. Correct, there we go. And then just kind of in putting this in context again for size, immediately across the street, there is a kind of a string of oversized lots, oversized houses. That's kind of from 3638 through 3433. There are double lots, they are oversized houses. And as a matter of width, these properties across the street are actually going to be bigger than the property that we're proposing. So I know there was a concern about the size, about the height, about it being a monstrosity on the block. And I just don't think that from what surrounds it, that would be the case. Again, it is 2 feet, slightly taller than the next one over. Not to mention that this is the last house on the block, and it is manufacturing behind this house. So from a building perspective, it will be the last house to kind of block out that manufacturing from the block. So it is desirable to have, the tallest building on the block on the end there. And it just simply makes sense with the size of the houses around it. From an RT-4 perspective, we're asking you for an RT-4 from the manufacturing. There are a lot of RT-4s on this block. We counted about 29 RT-4 zones on that block. Besides that, I think that the main point too is that there's a lot of multifamily on this block. There are at least 12 2 flats, if not 3 flats in that 12. There's 2 and 3 flats in that. So I don't believe we're coming in asking for anything that is not already characteristic of the neighborhood. Certainly there's a lot of multifamily happening on this block. So the intent is certainly to keep with this consistency of the neighborhood and create an owner occupied property for years to come. So, certainly I think there was concern about tenants, but the intent is not to rent the property. Again, it will be owner occupied in both of the units, and they're not going to build this property and then sell it off. They're going to live there for many years to come. So we can also have the architect here if you want to go through some of the design of the building. But I think that was mainly what I had from a perspective of the characteristic of what it would bring to the neighborhood and how it would, and putting in context with what the neighborhood already has. Again, I think it's a very, it blends with the existing housing.
Thanks for that, Colleen. Just to sort of summarize the revisions that were made to address neighbor concerns that were raised in the initial meeting. In the previous design, there were 2 entrances, one for the duplex and one for the apartment upstairs. That has now been changed to have a single entrance, so it does appear to have more of a single family dwelling look to it. Furthermore, the roof deck, as you said earlier, was removed. So the height of the property is going to be 38 feet, and as you noted earlier, really only 2 feet higher than the building next door. Those were the main sort of like physical pieces and I appreciate that y'all were willing to do that to make some changes to help kind of address the community concerns there. And I want to acknowledge that there was a general concern about this being a multifamily versus an actual single family in terms of the zoning. The zoning is what's required to build what you want. And I think the one thing that would be helpful that we haven't necessarily talked about, but I'll put the ask out there to you now, is that there was a concern raised about renters. I know that you're going to stay there, but at some point, let's say, if you get married and you move away, there will be an empty apartment there. One of the things that's common that we work with new zoning and new properties on is to ask for a covenant that would restrict any short-term rentals. So if you would make a commitment to having no Airbnbs, I think that would go a long way to doing that. Is that something you could agree to?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Colleen, did you get that? They would be okay with that? Yeah. So I mean, I think that also will help protect the block as well, so that there's not just short-term renters that are coming in there for, a Sox game and, partying and leaving for the week, even though we know Johnny and his wife are gonna be living downstairs and they probably won't want that. We do have some revised drawings of the building itself, and I know a couple people joined late, so I'm gonna just kind of go through. This is a front view of the building. There is a single entrance. So that it has every appearance of a single family home. And I may say, I love all the windows. It looks very pretty here. But we do have as well, the site elevations as well as the floor plans here as well. And we can provide this presentation, a link to the presentation for anybody that wants to look at it. But I'd love to open up for questions. I know we've got a couple people who have joined us online here. Mr. T and John, I know you joined like a minute or two late here. Did you have any questions? If you have questions, I need you to unmute yourself.
Yep. Hi, Nicole. This is Andy, Mr. T.
Oh, hey.
So,
Andy. I didn't
sorry.
realize
Yeah,
that was you.
yeah, no worries. I'm just 2 doors down, but no, thank
Got
you.
it.
Congratulations, and looking forward to have you guys, join us at the block. Thank you. Thank you
Great.
for making all these changes to address the concerns. And like I said, it's a great block, and you get to enjoy it for sure.
Thank
Great.
you. Thank you.
Thanks for that, Andy. John, do you have
Yeah.
any questions? Any questions in the room?
No, I mean, it looks nice. The windows are huge. They're gonna be hard to clean, but they look really nice.
Thank you.
No, it looks good. I think it fits well with that part of the neighborhood. I mean, a lot of our neighborhood in that area, I live on 33rd and Union. It's single family and mixed, so it
Yeah.
would fit right in. I don't see it as like a monstrosity or anything like that. It looks perfectly well to the neighborhood. Yeah, it looks good.
Well, great. With all of the changes that you've made and your commitment to, not having any Airbnbs, short-term rentals, I'm inclined to provide a support letter for the zoning change. So I'll be happy to do that. Andy, if folks on your block who didn't make this, we've recorded this, we'll put it online. There'll be a link as well to the presentation. I do believe that they've addressed all of the concerns. And you know, I'm glad to know that you're happy with the changes, and that you're ready to welcome some new neighbors onto the block.
Okay.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, well, see, the shortest meeting ever.
Yeah,
Thank you for that, and good luck with everything. We'll get the letter prepared and we'll send it over to Colleen. And then whenever you want to send that through, just let us know and we'll get it going.
Thank you so much, Alderwoman. I appreciate
All
it.
right,
Thank you.
thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.